Joining us now is a true immigration expert, lawyer Sergio Caras, formerly the chair of the International Bar Association Immigration and Nationality Committee. Sergio, thank you very much for doing this.
Well, thank you, Charles, for having me on the show.
All right, so the numbers the Fraser people are throwing out is approximately $20 billion a year is what the current system is costing us, $20 billion that we're putting out. Here's my question to you. Do you feel that this current immigration system is rational? When I say rational in terms of the national self-interest. What do you say, Sergio?
No, the current immigration system needs to be rejected and reworked from top to bottom because it's not serving our economic needs. It is a politicized system. It has been, over the years, used by different political parties to advance their own needs and to ingratiate themselves with different groups or different constituencies. But from an economic standpoint, it needs to be rejected. What we do is we need immigrants, but the mix of immigrants that we need is very different from what we're getting. Remember that even in times like now with fairly high unemployment, historically speaking, the jobs that are in demand are still not being able to be filled. So economically speaking, we are making a big mistake with the current system. At the same time, we have large numbers of people coming into Canada who cannot find a job because, as you may know, immigrants right now are not doing as well as in past generations. And that's something that needs to be addressed in an urgent manner and needs to be changed ASAP.
All right, it's hard to separate the politics from immigration because, as you say, both of the major parties, at least both of what were major parties up until this election, the Liberals and the Conservatives, have been using immigration, especially family reunification, as a way of building their political bases. What gives you the impression, Sergio, that anything would change now? Do you think because we now have a majority government that somehow this will change?
Well, a majority government obviously gives the government in power a lot more leeway to act. During the minority government, it was nearly impossible to pass any kind of major reform legislation. For example, the human smuggling bill was mired in controversy and never got passed. There is also a need to update the Citizenship Act that never got passed either. The Immigration and Refugee Protection Act needs to be updated, and it needs to be in line with our economic needs. It is really criminal that we have immigrants in the pipeline that we need who are waiting 3-4 years for a visa, while those skills are in demand. And at the same time, we have people using irregular avenues of immigration and getting work permits immediately and actually making economic demands on our system, using our healthcare system, etc. And it's not their intention to come to work to Canada. So we need to prioritize better, and we need to reward those people whom we need strictly based on economic terms. With respect to the report of the Fraser Institute, I had an opportunity to read it today pretty thoroughly. Some of the recommendations are fairly sound, some are somewhat controversial, but what the report fails to highlight is the breakdown of the different immigration categories. The report draws some averages about the cost of immigrants across the board, and that's really not a very fair characterization because there are immigrants who indeed pay high taxes, are employed, and there are immigrants who will never work a single day in their lives, and they will only make demands of the healthcare system, the welfare system, and their education level is not acceptable, their language skills are wanting, the marketplace for jobs does not require them, and the market rejects them. So we need to get back to market economics here, and we need to allow the marketplace to dictate the type of immigrants that the economy needs, because The bottom line is that immigrants need jobs in order to integrate into society and also to be happy. We don't want people to come here and be unhappy because they are not accepted, because they cannot find jobs, and they're not employable. We need
Sergio,
immigrants.
I want you to make me happy. I want you to allow me back into the conversation for just a moment here. Here's the question, Sergio. How difficult is one? This goes to, once again, Canadian common sense. How difficult is it to find people in various parts of the world who are already working, who are part of the culture of work, people who see it as one of their values? And so how difficult is it to find those people who are already gainfully employed so that we can bring people who already have a work ethic to Canada?
It's not very difficult at all. In fact, a lot of the very successful immigrants already hold jobs. Typically, we have a lot of immigrants who worked in the United States. They are originally, say, from India, and they were on H-1B visas, and they choose to come to Canada because they prefer it. And those are typically the immigrants who have very high skills, and they're very employable. They have language skills, which are critical. No language equals no job in this type of market for jobs.
All right, now here's the question, Sergio. How do you politically attack the idea of family reunification? Because as far as the various cultures and subcultures that the various political parties have been grooming over the years, that's their number one bit. You know, they call their member of parliament, and what they want to do is they want to find a way of getting granny or grandpa into the country. Who can blame them for wanting to be reunified with their elderly parents? But as far as our system is concerned, those people, unfortunately, are costing us a lot of money, and they're not putting very much into the system.
That's very true, and that's always the political conundrum. That is always the difficult choice, and hopefully a majority government that will put Canada first, and as you say, Canadian common sense, will have the wherewithal to be able to say to the public, I'm sorry, but this is one program we can no longer afford, and we need to prioritize and bring the immigrants who can find jobs, who can contribute, who can integrate, who speak the language, and who will be taxpayers in this country. So they will put their fair share in order to take out when their time comes for taking out.
Just a quick yes or no would be a good one here, because we've only got a few seconds left, Sergio. Do we have hundreds of thousands of people in different parts of the world who speak either English or French, who know one of the official languages, who want to come to Canada?
Yes, we do. And that will be very easy to find. And as a matter of fact, we need to emphasize that because that's one of the most important things for an immigrant to have. All the studies show that people who speak the official languages of Canada fluently do much better economically, and they integrate and they're happier.
Sergio Karras, thanks very much. If we're going to bring 250,000 people into this country every year, having them able to speak one of the official languages would be tremendously practical.